What I've been kind of wanting to get done, one of the things on my list is I want to get this windshield pulled, get it prepped, and get it glued in. I figured maybe we could get that done tonight and take you guys along, show you how I do it. Let's get into it. First thing I'm going to do is just take these nuts off, loosen this thing up. So this glass is just set in here. If you guys have been watching the channel for a bit, you know I made a cardboard template, and I had a local glass shop that deals in hot rod glass a lot. I had them cut this out for me. The first time they cut it, didn't quite fit, and we cracked it, chipped it in the process. No big deal. They took it back, cut me another one. So I got my stanchions loose enough, I should just be able to slide this on out. Oh, barely. Okay. So the way I did this is a 1925 Chevy Roadster windshield. And the way I did this is I chopped it, made it the size I needed it to be. First, I actually ended up chopping it 2 or 3 times to get it right. I ended up adding some metal in the top here to make the shape and profile right. And then I had to make it so it would open and close so you could put glass in it. So what I did is, I think kind of similar to how the Model A works, I made some L brackets in there and welded them in, cut the corners. And then I drilled and tapped for these screws, which will hold all that in place. And you can see we got a little bit of wiggle room in there, which is what you want. Only have these screws in finger tight. One there, one over here. Now the way I can tell which side's forward so I don't get this windshield backwards is it's got a wiper hole. Also, one of the cups for the pivot is on the windshield as it should be, and one's over there in the stanchion. That kind of helps me keep it straight too. There we go. As you can see there, it just has these little pieces that I think it was angle iron that I took and I cut slices out, so it fed in there. And then I just welded it on, make it hold in place, and then drilled and tapped a hole, as you can see there, so it would screw in. Piece of glass here. So the way the glass shop instructed me to do this is they said to take some electrical tape and run that all the way around the edge. And then to use the sealant, the glue, outside of that. And I think that's just to make it be removable later. So I got my tape here. I'm going to make sure I'm starting with a nice clean edge. And so I'm just going to go around and tape it. Now what I'm guessing I do is I'll go around and tape it, and then after I'm done gluing it in, I'll cut any overlap that's visible off with a razor blade. Well, it's official. It is too cold out here for this tape to stick. The glue on the tape, it won't work. So let's see what we can do about that. Oh yeah, that's better. That's better. That's working. It's kind of neat that my windshield is, cut out by hand in a local old school hot rod glass shop. It's fitting for this car, in my opinion anyway. I got to give a huge shout out to my my buddy Chad. He's the one that got me the hookup on getting the glass cut. Got me a really good deal. It's nice to have friends, especially when they work in glass shops. Cool. All right. Next step, I'm going to take a little pause and I'm going to take the windshield frame and the windshield adhesive into the house, warm them up, let them get nice and toasty, then I'll bring them back out here. Okay, so at this point I got everything warmed up in the house. I got my caulking gun here. I'm using a 3M product, Window Weld, I think it's called. I'll show you guys in just a second. I'm going to do this all kind of fast, though, because everything's warm, everything's in the house ready to go. I'm going to do it, and then I'll kind of walk you guys through, as I do it, what I'm doing. And I'll explain afterwards a little more in detail what I did. But that's what we're doing. Once I get it all glued in, I'll pop these screws back in, screw it all back together. And then I'm going to take it back in the house to dry, or to cure. So keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to start hauling stuff out and putting it together. Okay. Here's glass. Here's the frame. Got that laid out. There we go. And this stuff's thick, so you really do want to get a pretty good hole going. Crack it on the bottom. Pull that off. Feed her on into my tube here, my caulking gun. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this just like that. I'm going to screw it on there. I'm going to use this the opposite you would think. I'm going to leave that ramp pointed up as I pour. Okay. See it coming out in there. And there we go. We're off to the races. When you leave it upright like that, with that part sticking up, what it does is it allows your bead to set up nice and tall. Flip around here. And down the side. One thing I would recommend that I was going to do but totally forgot to do is use some painter's tape on your glass. Might have time to do that real quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off where I definitely don't want this stuff to be. I probably should do both sides, but to tell you the truth, I think I'm going to run out of time if I do. So I'm just going to do the one side. I'm going to stick her on in here. Let it set on down in there. Okay. Setting down. Get that in there. On the top. Together. Mating up. Let's get the screws going here. This one started. That one's in. That one's in. Now, let's take a look here. I'm going to pull this painter's tape before I get it stuck on myself. Too bad. All right. Oh, I got me some on there. Okay. Time to get some mineral spirits in a rag. Alright. Oh yeah. A little virgin lacquer thinner. Pull that stuff right off. Do the same to the other side. Any extra, any overlap. Freezing cold. I'm going to take this back in the house to dry and cure overnight. That's what I'm going to do. As you can see, that turned out nice and slick. I'm feeling really good about that. Okay. So my thoughts after doing all that. Of course, I created a little bit of a time crunch on myself because I decided to do it on a day that's nice and cold. So the adhesive on the tape wasn't working. I wouldn't expect the adhesive for the sealant to be working. Just kind of an interesting way of going about it. But by getting everything warm in the house, bringing it out here and trying to do it real quick. So, advice to you guys, if you're going to do this, get that painter's tape out, mask it off real well, you know, just for that clean line. Of course, you can use lacquer thinner or mineral spirits. Wipe it up. It wipes up real easy. Wipes off the hands pretty easy. Got to do a little more of that. But yeah, turns out real nice. That windshield that was loose in there before with the tape on it and the adhesive, now it feels nice and snug. There's no rattle, no shake to it anymore. Happy with it. Looks good. I checked it out inside and it looks really good. You know, it's a totally custom deal, and you know, it's not perfect, but it's pretty sweet. By hot rod standards, it's right there, on par. So I'm gonna let that cure up for a few hours inside. Then I'll bring it back out and stick it back on the car, and we can check that little box. One thing I'm kind of back and forth on is if I want to put a manual wiper in that hole. I'm going to leave that hole there either way. I decided that a while ago, and what I may do is just put a polished brass or stainless bolt in there if I don't put a wiper arm in there, you know, just to fill it. But I don't want to eliminate the option for a wiper blade. Not that you really drive this car in the rain, but you might get caught in a shower or something. You may want a little wiper blade. So having a little manual one might be handy, just for getting someplace to pull off, get under cover. I don't have plans for a top for this yet, but there might be a top coming down the road. We'll see. I left options. But anyway, appreciate you guys watching, and hope you enjoyed. I'm really looking forward to getting cranking back on this thing, getting it wrapped up, cold or not. I got to work on the wiring harness. I'd like to get this finished up. Just all the modifications to this. I ordered a TIG welder, an AC/DC TIG welder, an Art Captain. I really like the review Mad Ginger Customs did on his, even though his was sponsored by them. I trust his opinions on those things, Dave, and yeah, it looks like a good welder for the money. And I got a killer deal on it, Black Friday deal. Used the Mad Ginger Customs discount code plus Black Friday sale, so I think I got the unit for like $520 or something crazy. But anyway, I got that coming. Looking forward to using that to weld up a stainless insert for this. Something kind of nice we can polish, make it look like it was intentional. But anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up. Drop some comments below. Tell me how bad of a job I did on that windshield, or you can give me some tips, pointers, or give tips or pointers to anybody else watching. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, though, and yeah, I'll catch you guys next week. Wish me luck up there. Anyway, later, guys.